Welcome to another episode of Books, Kids, and Creations with Tracy Bloom. And today I have the honor and pleasure of interviewing another Tracy, spelled the same way. Tracy Long is the marketing director for the Imagination Library. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it is part of the Dollywood Foundation and is founded by Dolly Parton. So, woohoo! We are excited to have you here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. It's the Tracy Show.
It's the Tracy
That's great. Love it. Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And so you are new-ish to the Imagination Library. Talk about how you came across them and how you got started working for them.
Yeah, so, a crazy kind of my history has been, background's been really been more corporate marketing for the past 20 plus years. So I've worked in restaurant marketing and pet products, right? And so this opportunity came, the foundation reached out to me last year during COVID with this opportunity. And Tracy, honestly, this is like a dream job to me. This is it. This is my dream job. I thought originally restaurants were great. Pets. What could get better than food and pets, right?
Right.
But let me tell you, who knew that Dolly was going to come around? So, last year, I haven't even reached my 1 year anniversary yet. So last year in September, I joined the foundation. Um, so really excited, and just from my perspective, just a dream come true, just to work for one of the most iconic humans,
Yeah.
on the planet, right? And her messaging of just love and caring and inclusivity. It's beyond my dreams as far as what I thought I would do at this point in my life. So I feel very fortunate to have. I'm very fortunate they reached out, and I'm very humbled that I get to work for her.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, what a dream job working with an organization. I mean, I've stayed at Pigeon Forge
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
The feeling you get, even just being there, it's really it's calming, it's peaceful. There's like this carefree, almost childlike essence to it. And
yeah,
I love that she has, story times in the evening and
yeah,
campfires. And it
yeah.
just seems like everything Dolly does is that heartfelt.
It is, and the more I learn about, I'm still learning, of course, right? But and we call it, it's like it's Dolly's magic, like everything she touches, right? There's just some magic about it. And I think the first week I was on board, and just getting to know the foundation team, and just about the mission, and what our what the really our goals were. I think I cried, and this is so silly, but I think I teared up about 4 times in meetings. It's just because the impact of the Imagination Library and the impact that Dolly has on the world. It's just overwhelming sometimes, but it's amazing, and it is. She is very inspiring, and is the heart of the Imagination Library, and it's pretty amazing, and everything that she does, right? Whether it's her resorts, the Dreammore Resort, or I'm wearing my heavenly scent perfume from her right now. Because anything I can get that's going to make me feel more Dolly like, I'm going to definitely use. So yeah, and it's great to hear that. But there's definitely something special about Dolly.
Yeah. And so I'm sure with joining the team, you've learned some things about the Imagination Library that maybe not a lot of people know. What are some of those things that you're like, wow, I didn't know that we did this?
Yes.
Do you want to
Yes.
share some of those?
Sure. So, I will, probably the number one thing that, well, there's two or three. One, everyone's blown away when I tell them that we are in 5 countries. Majority of people think, that it's a US based organization. And here in my hometown, in East Tennessee, a lot of people just thought it was a Tennessee initiative.
Ah,
So it's really interesting when you tell people that we're an international, brand, that we're in the UK, in Canada, Australia, the Republic of Ireland, right? So I think that's one kind of eye opener for people. I think the other thing is everyone initially thinks that Dolly pays for all the books, right? 100% of the books. And from the children, the families that the children that we impact that call Dolly, the book lady. We get letters from kids and videos, and Mrs. Parton and Miss Book Lady. It's so endearing. But people, there's a misperception that Dolly pays for 100% of the books, and Dolly does give millions to the foundation, right? And originally it did start in Sevier County. But I think what people don't realize is the hundreds and thousands. We have over 2,000 what we call affiliates or community partners in the program that literally are on, in all the communities around the world who actually raise funds and promote the program locally in their own communities. And it's really those partnerships that make the Imagination Library successful. I think a lot of people just don't understand the business model of actually how we get it done, right? I mean, I think that we do give 1.8 million books a month, right? And there's a lot that goes behind that, right? But it's our partners that are our strong partners, and it's those affiliates in our communities that help us get it done, really. The other thing I would say that we especially from a marketing standpoint, a branding standpoint, is that sometimes people think that the program is only for children that are high risk or high needs, and it's one of our missions, and it's very important to Dolly that the program is a universal program and it's accessible to everybody. Not just certain children and certain needs. And that's a really important point to always make sure that people understand. But those are typically kind of the things that people are a little bit surprised about when they first find out where I work.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that you guys did that many books per month. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you would think that it would have to be like a well-oiled machine behind this. I mean, what do some of the logistics look like? So say a family goes and signs up, what happens after they sign up?
Well, it's first off just to say it's really easy for a family or a parent or a caregiver or a grandparent to find out if their child or a child in their area can be part of the program. You simply can just go to the website, check availability, and then you kind of literally will walk you through the steps. We have regional directors all over the world that you reach out to, and they basically will kind of walk you through that enrollment process. If, for example, there might be an area where we don't have an imagination library, the website, we kind of also will help walk you through ideas and ways to start a program in your neighborhood, in your area. So there's a lot of different ways that people can sign up, but signing up is really simple. It's the easiest part. I mean, the most important thing that we say around signing up is that making sure that we get the age of the child correct, right? Because we are very intentful on the books that are mailed to each child with their name on them each month. We're very intentful that they are age appropriate, right? So these are high quality books, and we want to make sure that they're age appropriate. So it's an interesting and a very well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
We have a great team in our operations team that help it, and we have great partners. We partner with Penguin Random House, which multiple benefits there. They allow us just to have a multitude, a catalog, a huge catalog to choose from, and help us keep those costs down because the Imagination Library books are custom. So we do have notes from Dolly that are also in the sleeves and things like that. So they're a great partner that help us get those books out. Plus, we have fulfillment centers as well. So it's just a whole, a logistics kind of well-oiled machine that we work with.
And I saw that, so I was going to ask about how you select the books, but it seems like through your partnership with Penguin Random House, they are able to help provide those books.
Well, so yes and no. So we actually have a book selection committee. So back in, I think 2005, when we partnered with Penguin Random House at the same time, the foundation also created a book selection committee. And that book selection committee is made up of authors and teachers and librarians and just early childhood experts And they help us basically every year. They get together, and each country does it separately because we do try to have, we try really hard to make our books resonate with the children in those countries. But our book selection committee meet each year, and Penguin Random House supplies. We have a catalog of books, and they choose 200, 300 books that they go through and read. And the U.S. committee actually reads every single book out loud.
Wow.
And that's how they go through the process. So it's a 2 to 3 day process. I was able to see that process this year with Canada and the USA. And there's just a criteria of, of what we, as far as an Imagination Library book, what we want. It needs to be exciting. It needs to resonate with children. Interesting to children, something for the parents to read. So there's a lot of guidelines that we try. We look for diversity. We just look for messaging. But they have a set of guidelines, and that's a really interesting process to watch those experts go through children's books and decide, what makes sense and what doesn't. So, and it's heartbreaking too, because there's so many great children's books, right? And so eliminating them is such a difficult task, but it's really interesting. And the great thing too is, like in Australia and Canada, the book selection committee members there, will really try to find books that are written or illustrated by Canadian authors or Australian authors. So we really do try to kind of pull it in, make it resonate with that country.
That's amazing. And I do like that you were saying that you are all about inclusivity. And I saw that you also offer books in Braille and audiobooks. And I think that's really special that you do that, because, that just makes sure that everyone's included and everybody gets to, have the opportunity to enjoy special books like that.
That's right. I mean, I think that was one of the things that I learned when I joined. I was not aware of that. We did, the bilingual and the Braille books, and I just think that, and there's a lot more that we can do in that area that we are constantly talking about, and as far as inclusivity, right? So, but yeah, it's again, always goes back to Dolly. Her spirit lives within all of us, and everything we do every day at the foundation, we do with kind of her spirit in mind. And she's all about accessibility, and that's with her core, just from her standpoint and core values of just loving people, loving yourself, and accepting others as well, right? So we try to kind of bring that in, and we have great partners. We have great, like I said, partners that help us customize those books and print those books and get them to children all over the world.
Now, do you know if there's any plans to go into more countries? I would think that, I saw somewhere that, gosh, did you guys just have your 150 millionth book or something like that
Yes,
last year?
yes, a milestone. Great. Yes, so we had our 150 millionth book celebration last year, our 25th anniversary last year. COVID, 2020 was an interesting year. Obviously, I joined the team in 2020, so that was interesting to onboard, during this pandemic. But there was a lot of big milestones for the foundation. Last year, 2020 was one of the best years from a growth standpoint. And if you think about our business model, it was a touchless business model in a sense already. We're mailing books to children. And the wonderful thing, one of the wonderful things that happened last year, and again, kudos to our amazing operations team, is that we last year never missed one book during a month, right, during COVID. So there was a lot of hustling going on behind the scenes, and kind of pivoting and switching gears and Penguin Random House just helped us with our fulfillment centers as well, helped us get through that time. But but we didn't have any children that missed a book during the pandemic. So that was really that says a lot for the foundation and how the business model works.
I saw that also last year, Dolly started the Good Night with Dolly videos.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think it's so amazing because, last year was tough for a lot of people. And I know that, kids especially
Yeah.
had a hard time dealing with this. And she's just such a great person, where she created these videos where she's essentially doing a story time or a bednight story
Yep.
with these kids. I think it's really neat.
Yes, and I will be transparent. So the Good Night with Dolly series was before my time. But I can tell you the story around it because it's a really amazing story, and it does show the involvement and engagement that Dolly has with the foundation. So last April, the foundation, we have produced the library that Dolly built documentary. So I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. If you haven't, it's streaming online right now, Tracy, so you need to go see it.
Okay.
But the premiere for that documentary was planned in New York City in April. Dolly was going to be there, and it was a huge premiere launch. Of course, that was April. In March, the pandemic happened. So the April premiere got postponed. And during this time, and in the premiere itself was a 2 to 3 year movie in the making, right? So it was a big deal. So at the time, my understanding is that Dolly felt like she needed to do something for fans and children during that time, and it was her idea to do the Good Night with Dolly series, the 10-week series that occurred. She also was very adamant about the books that were selected for the series. She wanted them to be books that would help children and families during this time because she knew it was a struggle. Like Max and the Tagalong Moon, it's like there's stories around, the little boy and everyone's seeing the moon at different places, and they're not together, but they're seeing the same moon. It was things like that. So she was very intentful on the books she chose. And that was all her. That was all her idea. And the Good Night with Dolly series had over 15 million viewers. It was crazy. And I remember at the time, because I wasn't working for the foundation, I remember the time like, how smart is that? Like, what an amazing, and I was watching them, and I don't have children, and I was watching them because it was just, it felt so good, and it was such a nice kind of reprieve from what was going on in the rest of the world, right?
Yeah. And I have some pictures here that I can share of some of these books, specifically this one here, Dolly's I Am a Rainbow.
Yes. Yeah. So Dolly has two. Yeah.
I didn't know that she wrote a book.
Yes. Okay. So Tracy, she's got two books that are in our Imagination Library. She wrote the Coat of Many Colors and the I Am a Rainbow book. Yeah. So we have two books of hers in the program.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to her talk about she read that book aloud for her Good Night with Dolly, and I thought, what a special book, because it talks about emotions and it has the correlation with colors, and I thought, what a special book.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. No, it's one of our staple books. So we do have a few staple books that that will stay in rotation. We have, of course, The Little Engine That Could is the very first book a child will receive. And then we have our Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come, which is the last book a child receives. So we have, and her books will stay. So there's some books that stay in rotation, and then there's other books that kind of rotate out. We do nonfiction, fiction, poetry, books about animal characters. There's just different things. Again, it's around the story and the message around it.
And each kid receives one book per month. Is that right?
That's right. So children from 0 to 5 years old, they receive one book each month. It has the book comes to their mailbox with their name on it, which is really where the magic kind of starts. If you think about it, and it's really that magic of a book arriving with their name on it is just something that you can't explain, right? And we get letters and we get so many letters and calls and videos from parents and just children of just how excited they are about receiving it in the mail. And then we get at the end, when they get their kindergarten book, there are some stories that I have just teared. I mean, everyone on the foundation, because they realize it's their last book. And from a child's point of view, it's like the last book that they're going to get from Dolly, right? But there's, in the big scheme of things, it's just an amazing program because if you think about it, children, if they start the program from 0 and they go all the way through 5, they have a library of 60 books by the time they graduate from our program, which is pretty amazing. And then the fact that the benefits, our ultimate goal is just from Imagination Library standpoint is to inspire a love of reading and learning. That's it. It's that simple. I mean, we obviously have goals that we want to grow. We have our business goals and things like that. But our ultimate goal, it's about what Dolly's mission was. It's to inspire a love of reading, right? Which started with her father, and it's something that she's very passionate about. I think that at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. That's, we're focused on inspiring that love of reading for children. And we're helping them, the benefits, I guess, or the icing on the cake is, there are benefits to that early childhood literacy. There's brain science that talks about children, from 1 to 3 and how important it is at that point. So we're helping children get ready for school and kindergarten. We're helping them get, have just their reading skills be improved. So there's those extra benefits from a literacy standpoint that that's also happening at the same time. But at the end of the day, yeah, right.
Yeah, there was something on, I think it was either readingfoundation.org or some other website, I can't remember, but it was about the importance of teaching kids to read that young, because if they don't catch on by 3rd grade, there's some statistics about,
That's right.
74% won't catch up after that. So I think it's amazing all the work that you guys are doing.
That's right. Well, and what's interesting is that, Dolly, when she first started the foundation back in 1988, she, the original, program was around high school students, and she in Sevier County. And this is a story that some people don't know, but it was called, I think, the buddy system or something like that, where she went in. What she learned was that in her hometown of Sevier County, there was a high dropout rate, high school dropout rate, and she wanted to do something about it. So she actually went into the high schools and created this buddy system that two high school students would buddy up, and if they graduated, they supported each other. But if they graduated, she gave them actual money. And what ended up happening was, obviously, there was an increase in their graduation rate. But what she learned, what I understand is that from the teachers and those educators in Sevier County, was that it actually was something that started a lot earlier than high school, to your point. And then that's when she really got interested in that early childhood literacy. Like, where does it really begin? And where is the impact really, where can we make it the biggest impact? And again, there's just a lot of research out there that talks about those early years and just, the benefits of reading to a child, an infant, and holding a child, and that bonding. I mean, there's just a ton of research out there that can just talks about the positive impact that it makes, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's incredible how much has been accomplished in, 20 years or so.
It's 25 years, Tracy.
Yeah.
And we're now, I asked our director of operations this morning, we're at over 165 million books since inception, which is crazy, which is every 1.6 seconds, we gift a free book. Isn't that crazy?
That's incredible.
It is. It's incredible. And, again, I'm so humbled to be part of the team and just to be able to do whatever I can do to support everything the foundation is doing. We're in 50 states in the U.S. We're in 50 states. We have 8 statewide programs. We just have a lot of momentum going right now, and our goal is just to keep moving and keep expanding, because it's like when you tell the universe something, right? And we tell the universe all the time that we want every child to have access to a free book. I mean, wouldn't that be an amazing place to live, right? So we go for the big dreams. It's Dolly. She's not going to do anything little. It's going to be big and bold, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, is there anything on the horizon for you guys as far as, plans for expansion or new countries that you're looking at going into?
Yeah, because I didn't answer your question. So we now, let's get back to the previous question. So we are at the end of a 10-year strategy, and they started in 2015. We're actually ahead of the plan. And like I said, we're in 5 countries, and our focus for right now is to really continue to grow in those 5 countries. We're always looking. We have a lot of interest that comes to us from other countries, but we want to really expand in the countries that we're in. So in
Right.
the U.S., we're really focused on statewide programs. And like I said, we have 8 statewide programs. We've got more that are in the pipeline that are ready to come down. So, and statewide programs, if you think about it, that means that every child in that state is eligible to enroll. It's pretty amazing, right? And
Yeah.
so our goals are focused on, growing in the countries that we are currently in, so the 5 countries, and then looking at, the opportunities in the future, right? Because you don't want to get too
Right.
too spread. Yeah. So we want to kind of keep making the impact where we currently are, because it's amazing the work that they've done in the 25 years and the numbers that you see. But like an old mentor of mine used to say, you can always do better, right? You're doing great, but you can always do better. So we're just going to keep pushing it and just continue to drive forward and just keep trying to inspire children around the
Yeah.
world.
I love it. And to your point, I know that I do a lot of work with schools with the children's books that I write. And um, one district in particular that I'm working with, they told me that some of their kids don't have books at home. And I went, what? Really? And
Yeah,
so that's some of you don't even think about, here in the
that's
United
right.
States, you just assume that
That's right.
everyone has books, but to your point, there's a lot of people here in the US that still need a lot of
That's right.
you know, a lot of assistance getting things like books in hand.
That's right. And so we are, and if you think about too, in Canada and Australia, we have Indigenous communities as well, and we're in those communities well. So there's just a lot of work that we're doing that we're really focused on. But it's supporting those community partners that are out there, kind of what I call on the front line, really raising funds and to match, because the foundation, and I don't know if I said this before, but we, from a foundation standpoint, we're the infrastructure, the administrative part of the business, and we provide the books, and the database, and we protect the child's privacy and those things. So we handle all that. But it's those community partners that are out there in the communities that are raising funds, that are bringing awareness, that are literally going out and getting children to enroll, right? Going to hospitals and going to places that there's new babies, right? And it's things like that. It's really, and those are our champions of the program. So
Yeah.
we're so thankful for them.
Yeah. Well, and I would think that at some point, have you met Dolly?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me. So it's okay. Everybody asked me this question ever since I started working. So here's the sad news. The sad news is I haven't. But here's, but it's a lot is due to COVID and the
Yeah.
pandemic. So I started in September, and I would have, if it hadn't been for the pandemic, I would have met her multiple times by now. The problem is the office has been closed. Our corporate office was closed back in April. So we are all, obviously, we're working remotely still. We haven't gone back to the office. And Dolly, actually, her travel schedule was kept up tremendously as well, just
Yeah.
for safety purposes. So she hasn't been traveling as much either. She was in the office about a month ago, but I didn't drive in to because I kind of felt like it become a stalker if I drove in. So,
You're the
so
only one there. Hey.
that was right. I'm the new guy. So I haven't met her yet, but I would tell you that, Tracy, it hasn't, you know, even though I haven't met her, it hasn't dampened my spirit at all for what I'm doing. And that's the good thing. And I guess part of that is the team that is on the foundation. She's our chair. And she's very involved. She wants to know what's going on. She gets constant updates. If we have big events like a statewide program, she'll do a video for us and things like that. And like I said, I think during normal times, I would have met her at this point, but unfortunately, the pandemic. So it's something that I get to look forward to, hopefully, soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
even know how to compose myself. I'd probably be like, "Can I hug you?"
Right. So Tracy, that's so funny because I said initially that the first couple of weeks someone said something about on the team. Have you met Dolly? I said, no, 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 no. I said, no, I'm good. Let me just kind of stay back at this. I don't. I mean, I'm just kind of a little bit too nervous for me. And
Right.
what I've been told by everyone, my colleagues, is that what makes her so special, and this is probably no surprise to you, is that she makes everyone around her feel so comfortable and at ease that you don't feel that way, right? So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to meet her one day. But again, I'm just humbled. I'm humbled just to work for her.
Yeah,
I could just work for, like this for the rest of my life and be happy.
yeah. I bet. Well, I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to talk to you today, and I'm excited about all that you're about to do and all that you're doing already. So, thank you, Tracy, for being here today. And yeah,
Of
it's
course.
been a pleasure.
Yeah, Tracy, it's so nice to meet you and good luck with everything. And check back in with us in a while. We'll do an update. We'll see what our numbers
Yay!
are then. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.